Dimash, yeah. Like, I see someone like Hozier as technically as good as Dimash in certain parts of what he's doing. He doesn't have the crazy high range, but in terms of the detail in the mechanics, how subtly he's able to adjust the coordinations, he's as good as Dimash, for example. So I guess nowadays I'm kind of thinking, in one sense, the skill set isn't about high and low. It's about how precise are those adjustments in the coordination. And that takes people like myself time to cultivate, because when I started, my vocal cords were so clumsy that all they knew how to do was either close like mad or let go a lot. And then as I got better, like my ability to bring those vocal cords and connect them different amounts depending on what type of sound I want to get out, that's improved vastly. And that skill is super important. It's basically half of singing or a third of singing. And someone like Hozier is as good as Dimash at that skill. Going back to the point I was making, like nowadays I see that and I think, man, that's so good. Like that's so good and it's something I strive for. And that's why you get singers who make a living who can't sing high, but everything they do is free and released, and it just fits in. You know that kind of sound you have where it just sounds professional. It's got that perfect quality to it. You can't really put your finger on it. And that's like that universal, people call it release, but they're always on that free spinning spot.
Yeah, it's kind of that feeling where the voice floats out. And I remember even myself as a starting singer, I was always about the higher note, always extend the range, get my voice as high as possible. And like, that's what will make me a good singer. You know, like we all have this idea when we're starting out of what's going to make us that amazing, that professional singer. And so that was the idea. Like I worked on that skill set almost solely, extending my range as much as possible. And somewhat glossed at the beginning over exactly what you're talking about, is being number one, working on your tone in your lower range so that it sounds pleasing with what you have right now. And number two, making those subtle adjustments so that you're able to be extremely flexible within the range that you're able to sing in the here and now.
Yeah, it's so key. I learned in reverse as well. I had to like just even build a head voice for myself because I had no release at first. And then essentially ended up with like mid-range and high-range stuff. And then had to, over the last like 3 years, just slowly found myself walking backwards further and further and further. To the last 3 months, all I've been working on is like chest voice, like opening up to like specific vowels like ha and eyes and different things in chest range, and just grinding those out because I found like some really weak areas, and I was just, it boggled my mind a lot because I was like, it's so easy when the problem with doing it in reverse is because you have these skills that other singers don't have, you think like the other stuff, well, that's easy, like anyone can do that. And then you realize like, well, if you haven't learnt it, if you haven't put the time in to master that chest range, it's not going to be there. So you're forever kind of missing it. And then eventually you go work on it. You realize in some ways, it's, for me at least, it's actually harder in that chest range than higher up, because the muscles, when they don't grip as much and they don't need to in chest, there's very little sensation in the throat. And it's that sensation that people like myself love to grab onto, because it gives you some sense of concreteness in your singing. You feel like, there it is, that's the control I want. In chest, the adjustments are so delicate that there's very little sensation. It can be very like disconcerting for a control freak who wants to, always feel like they're in control of their voice. So that range has been the hardest for me to master. And yeah, for sure, I say this to a lot of students nowadays. I say, look, people that have release, they're always free when they sing. They haven't got crazy high range. They haven't got loads of different qualities they can sing on, but they're always free. those singers earn money, and there's loads of professional singers that do that. There's almost no professional singers that sing really high with lots of power that sound bad. And that's what I was for many, many years. Like, I could sing pretty high, like for my voice type, yeah, sing with some power, but I sounded bad. So you never earn any money. So that's the thing. It's like the stack of priorities completely reverses at a certain point when you go for professional singing like that, because you realize the most important thing is for it to sound free and good, and that comes from the skill in the coordination and the that nice sense of release that people talk about, however you want to describe it, but that freedom that you find when it's right.